I'm Vice President for Supplier Account Management for a broad APG region for SAP Ariba. I've been with the company for 6 years now, and I'm very glad to have here with us today Michael Wahlberg from IBM. And I'm going to exchange a little bit and ask Michael a few questions about how he uses and how his company uses the Ariba network. So good morning, Michael. Maybe we can start with you introducing yourself and say a few words about what you do with IBM.
Sure. So the name is Michael Wahlberg. I'm initially from Finland and I'm based in Singapore since 2010. I've been with IBM for 21 years, and for the last 15 years I've been involved in what we have called traditionally the web business. So today it's called e-procurement, and it has to do with all things digital, so digital procurement. And I am the leader today for the AP region, and we operate in ANZ, Korea, India, and then also, of course, the ASEAN market. So what our primary role is to work with our customers, and what we do is we work with the clients' change requests to change from a different from their existing e-procurement or from their existing procurement processes to an e-procurement platform like SAP Ariba.
Okay, thank you. Let me also, obviously we prepared a few questions based on your role and previous discussions that we had. Let me ask you the next one. What is IBM vision about the future of change management, and in particular through automation and digitalization, and how maybe digitalization has impacted IBM over the last few years?
Sure. So IBM as a seller needs to respond to our buyers with transparency and speed and accuracy. So like I mentioned, I joined IBM in Asia Pacific in 2010, and back then we only really had a handful of customers who could be called digital, or actually it was called, the term was electronic back in those days. So we didn't really have any relationships other than emails, faxes, and actually in some cases letters. So that's how the customers sent their orders, and in return IBM sent invoices also in the same fashion. So it would be an email, fax, or actually a letter. So, but today we have in Asia Pacific active trading relationships on the SAP Ariba platform with more than 300 customers, and they are spanned across different industries and different segments. So it means that we have thousands of transactions, mainly driven by actually electronic invoices or e-invoices, and what passes through there is hundreds of millions of dollars actually through this digital channel, right? And our main focus from an e-procurement perspective is actually there's 3 points that we are focusing on. So it's to drive the ease of buying to our existing customers. So we want to remove any obstacles that the customers or the buyers have in their procurement process with IBM. And the second thing is we want to engage new clients. So what this means in IBM terms is customers who have previously, bought something from IBM and who are also on the SAP Ariba platform. So how can we re-engage those customers together with SAP Ariba, and of course with the customers and with the IBM client teams. And then the third kind of priority or focus is white space customers. So these are customers who IBM, or these are actually prospects we should call them, because they are prospects that IBM has never done business with before. So we are looking at, okay, how can we leverage the relationships that we have, or relationship that we have with SAP Ariba today to reach those customers or prospects?
Thank you. And maybe how does SAP Ariba fit into your e-commerce strategy as a supplier?
Yeah, it fits really, really well because everything is about cost reduction, right? So with SAP Ariba, IBM as a supplier enjoys the same benefits as our buyers or our customers. So that we increase productivity and then speed of transactions, and of course reduction in the errors. So all these three things contribute to the reduction in costs. So it fits very well into our strategy.
Sure, yeah, cost reduction, of course. I'm not surprised about your answer. How has procurement automation impacted your buyers?
Okay, this is interesting because like this is actually probably applicable to most of our buyers. So initially when the buyers approach IBM and say, hey, let's connect on the SAP Ariba network because we can see that that IBM is there. So they come to us usually asking for something like, okay, can they buy something that's tangible? So can they buy a product that they can actually see and touch, right? So that's how most of them believe, or most buyers believe that they can really use the relationship, or the digital trading relationship. But then when they realize that they can also add, or they can also procure services and software, I mean, then things change for them quite drastically, because then they realize that, okay, the invoices that they have from their own back-end systems, from their ERP systems, for example, they can connect to SAP Ariba and onwards to suppliers like IBM and other suppliers. So they have a complete one chain of events, starting from their own departments all the way to their suppliers, which doesn't break. So in that sense, the buyers and our customers, they have a better management of their budget and their spend. So that's really the big thing. So usually the scope expands once a customer or buyer realizes how well everything works on the SAP Ariba network with the suppliers.
Okay, thank you. From an IBM standpoint, from your standpoint, what are the key benefits of using the network? In other words, how has the Ariba network helped you in achieving your e-commerce goals?
Okay, so the key benefit for IBM today is integration. So IBM has something called IBM Sterling Web Forms. So what we have done is we connected SAP Ariba to our IBM Sterling Web Forms, and what happens is our accounts receivable organization is actually logged into IBM Sterling Web Forms. So through one portal, they have access to all the SAP Ariba accounts, or the relationships that we have on the SAP Ariba platform. So what it means is that instead of actually having to log into each individual SAP Ariba relationship or account to, for example, receive purchase orders or retrieve purchase orders and then flip them to invoices, they can do everything from one portal, right? So that's the integration part. So this is a huge benefit for accounts receivable. So this also then, of course, impacts on how we do our own reporting. So it's very easy for us to just, for example, have one global report on what is the relationship with our customers globally, or geographically, or per each market. So we can see what are the transactions, had there been any issues, had there been any delays, and so on. So the biggest impact here is definitely when it comes to integration.
Thank you. There's a question I always like, or even love to ask to any of our clients, which is a kind of a bit personalized experience sharing. So if any of our suppliers would like to learn from your journey, what would be your personal piece of advice, the piece of advice that you would like to share with them?
Yes. Okay, it's a very good question also, and I wish somebody had asked me that in 2010 when I first joined IBM here in Asia Pacific. And I think that the best advice here is to for your first relationships to your buyers. Okay, you should definitely involve somebody from SAP Ariba on those calls or those meetings, and let them manage and drive the first so-called enablements, or the establishment of the relationships, because there's going to be a lot of questions, a lot of surprises from your buyers. the buyers will be looking to the suppliers, believing that the suppliers know everything. So that's definitely one big important thing that you should do. And I think especially applicable for two scenarios when you have multinational customers. So if you're looking at establishing relationships with customers, not just in one country, but several different countries, then things can usually get trickier, because it doesn't actually mean that the company operates in the same way in both countries, or not even in different markets, right? So that's kind of my advice. And then the other one is when what the customer is looking for is heavily e-invoicing driven. So if it's invoices that there's going to be hundreds of invoices, then you definitely should involve somebody from SAP Ariba on those initial calls until you kind of train up or skill up your procurement folks, or the people who are establishing these relationships with the buyers.
Okay, thank you. Let's go for a very last question. I would like to ask you how the Ariba network helps you selling more, and in particular, sometimes some people mention the stickiness of the relationships established with the Ariba network. So how does that work for you, and how maybe it helps you building a stronger relationship with your customers?
Yeah. So I mean, I think it has always been the case ever since we have been on the SAP Ariba platform. So the buyers or the clients, what they do is they do so-called supplier shortlisting. So they will look at, okay, who are the suppliers who are on the same platform that we are using. So because obviously, like I said in the beginning, earlier in earlier questions, they are usually looking at, okay, how can they connect to their departments, how can they connect to the ERP system, SAP Ariba, and then also all the way to the suppliers. So if you don't have presence on SAP Ariba network, okay, then your buyers or customers are not going to see you. So the important thing is to definitely have presence. Even if you don't have existing business or agreements with a buyer or a customer, you still need to be there just in case if a prospect sends a request for a quote or request for information. So you definitely want to be there to receive those, so that you don't miss out on opportunities. So that's I think great way of kind of exhibiting stickiness.
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah, and I'm quite proud actually that the Ariba network is the biggest B2B e-commerce network in the world. So of course, it's I can understand it's a key differentiator for the suppliers on the network. Yeah, we're getting to the end of this conversation. So Michael, I would like to thank you very much for sharing your experience to the network, the web. And yeah, thank you again. Talk to you soon.
Thanks. You're welcome.